So loosen your belt and pull your britches up, because I have got an awesome recipe for you. This is a side of spare ribs, and you can use baby back too. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to take as much of this silver skin off as I can. You just try to find a place where you can just get a hold of it. Sometimes I use a paper towel that really grip it. And if you end up taking some of the fat off, that's fine, because you may not want all that fat on there. And just take as much of that off. And if you don't even want it off, that's fine. But I like to kind of trim some of that off. It don't matter how I'm cooking it. And then you want to cut the rib tips off too. Okay, now that we got everything trimmed up good, we're just going to start cutting in between each rib bone. Just cut your rib pieces. It cuts pretty good. You can see there's quite a bit of meat on that. That's usually the reason I get spare ribs for something like this is because of the price and because it's got a little bit more meat on it. But a lot of people do the same thing with baby backs, and I do love baby backs. But for deep frying, I just feel like spare ribs is a little better piece to use. So just cutting them till you get them all cut. And as you get to the end, your bones, the rib bone gets a little bit smaller, but you can still use those and fry them up. Now I did cut the rib tips off. I'm going to cut this and I'm going to throw them in with my pieces that I've got stuck over here. And this right here was my rib tips. You can see I just kind of cut them off. And there's a little bit of meat in there, but I'm not really wanting to fry that up. So I'll put it with my other pieces over here. And I can use that for something else. But anyways, we got them ready. Now we're going to get them ready to put in the refrigerator with a little bit of vinegar for about 15 minutes. Okay, I feel like I need to tell y'all that this step could be optional. But what I'm doing is I'm taking my rib pieces and I'm going to stick them in this big bowl. And I'm fixing to pour enough apple cider vinegar in here to kind of marinate them. But they're not going to marinate very long. Apple cider vinegar is used a lot in cooking pork, especially when you're smoking pork or for barbecuing pork. But it tenderizes it, and it just gives pork a really good taste. But like I said, it's only going to marinate in this vinegar for about 15 minutes in the refrigerator. So just coat it really good, put it in the fridge, and about halfway through, just kind of mix them up good again. And then we're going to take them out, and we're going to rinse them off. Okay, it's been 15 minutes in the fridge, and I'm just going to drain the vinegar off my ribs. And then we're going to rinse our ribs good, get some of that vinegar off of them. You don't want to leave all that vinegar on there. You want to rinse some of it off, because you really don't want that taste of just, really stout vinegar. But just rinse them off and they'll be good. You won't taste it. So I'm going to rinse these, and then I'm going to season them. Now, anytime I'm frying anything, whether it's fried chicken or whatever it is, I like to season my meat, and then I like to season the flour that I'm going to be rolling it in. So it gets seasoned twice, but it's just so good. This is just really, if you can't make your man happy with this, I don't know what you're going to do. So, let's get it ready. So I'm just going to take a paper towel. I'm going to get as much water off these ribs as I can. And you don't have to dry them all the way, because you do want your ribs a little bit moist so that your seasoning stick to it. But I'm just going to kind of dry them off a little bit so they're just not overly wet. But we're just going to season them good. We're just going to take probably some pepper. We like pepper on our pork. So you can use about a teaspoon or so. Because there's quite a few ribs in here, so a couple of teaspoons would be good. Just kind of mix them around to get all that pepper on each piece as much as you can. Now I think I'm going to put a little bit of salt. Now, really and truly, you season this meat with whatever you want to season it with. You want to put some Cajun seasoning on it, you, by all means, you just use whatever you like. Just like if you're frying chicken, you season it up the way that you like to eat it. But I've got pepper, salt, and some garlic, I think. Okay, you just need a deep enough skillet to put in at least 2 inches of cooking oil or shortening or whatever you're going to use. And you want your oil to be about 350 before you start frying. We've just got a simple mixture here that we're going to be frying our spare ribs in. And it's pretty much the same way that I deep fried chicken. It's got similar ingredients in it. But like I said before, you add anything that you want into this. I've got a tablespoon of baking powder and 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And I'm going to take a heaping tablespoon of cornstarch, or you can use arrowroot, whichever you use. And I'm just going to keep my seasoning simple. I'm just going to put a little bit of salt, about 2 teaspoons of salt. And probably a teaspoon or so of pepper. And then I'm going to put about a teaspoon of garlic powder. And we're just going to keep it about that simple. Now we're just going to get this mixed up and roll our ribs in it. Okay, we got all that mixed up, so now we're just going to take our rib pieces and just roll them in this flour mixture. You just want to make sure you get them coated real good on all sides. Now, I also have a lid to this bowl, and I can also put the lid on, just kind of shake it around, but even before I do that, I still like to roll whatever I'm cooking. I still like to roll it in the flour because I want to make sure that every little crevice has plenty of flour with the seasoning in it. And I've got my oil heating up to 350. So you can just put your lid on there and just shake it up real good like that, and they should be coated really, really good. So let's get them over here and get them in the fryer. So my oil has temped at 350, so I'm going to start putting my rib pieces in here. I'm going to try not to overcrowd it. And we're going to cook them on this side for about 10 minutes. And then I'll flip them over and cook them about another 5 minutes. They should be good and done by then. Okay, they've been cooking 10 minutes, and I'm going to flip them over. They're really good and golden on that one side. And then I'm going to cook them for about another 5 minutes. And they should be good and done by then. They're looking really good. We'll get these done, and then we'll stick the rest of them in there. And then we're going to fix us a plate, and we're going to eat some fried spare ribs. So this batch is done. I'm going to take them out. I'm going to put them over here on my cookie sheet. And I've got some parchment paper to drain them on. And I got my oven on keep warm. That way I can just stick them in there and keep them warm while I cook the other ones. I can't tell you how exciting this is because these are so good. And you can eat these with a little bit of barbecue sauce. You can eat them without. You can dip them in a little bit of ranch dressing. Just whatever. It's just so good. we're going to add the rest of our spare ribs. And we're going to get them cooking. I got me a few sides ready. And, you know, I called this a Father's Day special because I thought, wouldn't this be something just to cook your daddy or your husband or whatever? Because, you know, he'd love some good deep fried spare ribs. Deep fried spare ribs, how can you not like it? Guys, hope y'all like this recipe and I hope you try it. They're really good. Try it for Father's Day, try it for any day. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. God bless everybody.